Ladies and gentlemen, what is up? It's hard to believe that 2014 is already over, and here we are, another year discussing our games of the year. It's been what?
Sorry,
Jeff Green.
That's me.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Failing.
That's okay, because my initial fail, no one heard that except for you and Jeff, and then. But then you came right back. There we go. It's officially an episode of APITS. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Game of the Year show. We've been gone for a while, on hiatus, if you will, but we're back.
Yeah. We did it. We made it. A show, guys. We'll pack it up and we'll see you next year.
Yeah, that's it. That was easy.
Yeah.
See you later.
It was.
It was a hell of a year, wasn't it?
It was a hell of a year, for sure.
In so many ways.
I started looking back at, like, my process was going to, I think I found like a Wikipedia article or something that was just all the games released in 2014. And I got to say, I had a hard time finding 10 games that I wanted to put on a Game of the Year list. Yeah.
Really?
I didn't put like a Dragon Age on the list just because I didn't have fun with it. I think those games are definitely on like a more... If it was a publication, if we were IGN or a Giant Bomb or anything like that, like, yeah, that would go on there, right? But for me, it's just I kind of got bored with it. So
with Dragon Age,
yeah, there's some games on there that that aren't on there that probably would be if it was a bigger deal, but it's a more personalized list.
Yeah, you know what? Isn't that what the game? I mean. I feel like I've been doing Game of the Year's lists for forever. Jeff, you must have been doing this since like the beginning of time, right?
It's been hundreds of years. Literally.
Right, exactly, literally. But like, hasn't it over time just evolved into, I as a gamer accept that there are just games that I really like and that do it for me, and for other people it's something totally different, and that's why I love doing this now, where I used to hate it because I felt like it was like, a witch hunt if you didn't select game X, Y, and Z. But now I think, it truly is a reflection on sort of you as a gamer and what, kind of tripped your trigger. And admittedly, as I get older as a gamer, I think I'm getting a bit more... I'm getting a bit more specific. My criteria is starting to get, the list is getting longer. Like you've really got to make a decent game, I feel like, to get on my list, because I feel like there's just a lot of standard shit that is released now.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, that's right. And a lot of games that are good, they get the job done. But are they really things we're going to remember, years down the line or whatever? Like, we'll have a great time with them for 20, 30, 50 hours. But, is it a Half-Life or a Final Fantasy 3 or whatever it is that, like, we're going to be talking about, like, way later? I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
So I think before we get to games, are you guys able on the fly to do a 2014 TV show of the year?
Oh, shit.
TV show of the year?
I could wing it.
I mean, for me, I think True Detective is the easy.
That came to my mind.
I haven't watched it yet.
Dude,
I rewatched it. I rewatched it with Day9 over Thanksgiving, man.
Yeah.
I've never seen Sean go from like, he's always just a jubilant, happy guy.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
always
all
happy to be around.
serious.
And then after 8 episodes been watched in one afternoon, I watched Sean slowly become the most depressed person I've ever seen.
Which isn't to say that it's,
yeah, it's not because it's bad,
right?
Because it's like such a dark and gritty, like,
and like, if you're not a Matthew McConaughey fan before this, you will be after.
Oh yeah,
because I never really gave a shit about the guy that much, But after this, I was like, oh my god, he's so good, he's so talented, you know. That's in my top. I don't know if I'd say definitely number one.
Yeah,
in the top 3 for sure.
I think as a show, as a season, is like an all-encompassing thing. I think True Detective is the winner in my mind.
It was stunning, and it's going to be really interesting to see if they could pull off a second season.
Did you see the new actors or the new?
Yeah, I've seen the new actors. Oh, I haven't seen any promo yet. No.
Oh no, it was they announced just is it Taylor Hirsch? I think is in. I can just look it up real quick instead of making up names.
Not just make up names. That's better. Gilbert Gottfried is the star.
Yeah, he's
the
gonna
next
be the
one. Gilbert
gonna be the
Gottfried
bad
and Carrot Top are season 2 detectives.
There you go.
It's really hard to pick one. It's
Fargo.
really,
Someone said
Fargo.
in the
I would
chat.
have not watched
That
it
was
yet.
so fucking good.
It was
so much
with
better
Jeff.
than it had any right to be. Right?
Yeah,
I mean, it
yeah.
sounded like it was going to be terrible. It just sounded like a bad idea.
Yeah.
Like, why would you make a TV version of this classic Coen Brothers movie? But
And
what
it's
they did
amazing.
was they didn't do that at all. They just like set it sort of in the same universe there, with the same kind of sensibility, where it's just like scary as fuck and like hilarious at times. Billy Bob Thornton was unreal in that. Martin Freeman was amazing. So yeah, I think Fargo was a great call by somebody there in chat.
That's true.
Game of Thrones had another awesome season, of course.
Yeah, that's
did.
true.
Breaking Bad ended brilliantly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. I guess they had the final 6 episodes or whatever this year,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
that was in 2014. I don't even know
was.
how you pick a best.
I
And,
think
and
it's too hard for me too. Yeah.
it was a great year. And another one that I have to mention, I can't remember if I made you guys watch this yet, is Orphan Black.
I watched.
No.
I don't think I finished the first season, but I definitely watched it.
You have
Like
to
8 or so episodes.
You have to watch it, and then you have to stick with it because it gets crazier as it goes along.
Okay.
That's also on my list because I was looking for that, Jeff, and stumbled across a Black Mirror. And I was
Okay,
like,
gonna ask
oh.
if you watched that.
I was like,
haven't
hey,
watched that yet,
here it
but I've
is.
heard
I'm going to
amazing
watch it.
things.
I watched all 6, like start
Brad
to
was
finish.
saying that was like an insanely depressing show. Is it?
It's
like Twilight Zone,
It's
right?
Twilight
Ish.
Zone, but the
Yeah.
reason why it's so fucking awesome is that every single episode is sort of based off of the sort of human advances and human reliance on technology.
Right.
And it is awesome. It is really, really, really good.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, but I was just reading an interview with the guy who makes a show over in the UK. And he said that when he came up with the show, he wanted to do like, it was deliberately a modern version of Twilight Zone. And
Yeah.
so he was thinking to himself, like, okay, so in Twilight Zone back in the early 60s when it started, like what was going on in society? It was all like paranoia, McCarthyism, like, stuff like that. And it was like, well, what is it about today? And when he was like Googling, when he was researching it, he was doing it on his iPad, and he saw his own reflection in the mirror of the iPad, and then he was like, that's it. That's the thing. It's our like obsession with personal technology.
Yeah,
That's what the
and
show's
it's
gonna be about.
great.
Interesting.
And what's so impressive is that you'd think like, you know, something like that, it's not going to have a big effects budget, and it doesn't have like fucking, you know, like shit blowing up and stuff, but it's really subtle stuff that's amazingly well done, and they make all of the technology really believable, like really awesome.
I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, I need to.
Yeah, it's all streaming. Right?
I gotta. Yeah, I mean, Wan Jockey says it, but my total.
I watched 2 episodes of this week.
It is definitely a guilty pleasure, but the 100 just continues to be. I mean, like all levels of. Just you're like, why am I watching this? Oh my god, this is why I watch this show. Like,
really?
Oh yeah.
I only got 2 or 3
I've been
episodes
scared of it.
so
It's kind of like, you know, Arrow and Flash have a bit of those curves too, where you're.
Are you guys
like,
caught up,
come
by the way, on that?
No, I'm not. I'm not caught up
Are
on
you,
Arrow.
Jeff?
I'm really close.
On Arrow?
On Arrow or Flash?
I'm not caught up on either. I'm actually only midway through season 2 on Arrow. But I do have to say, back when we first were talking about this, you guys are so right. Like the spike in quality went up so much on Arrow.
Did you finish season 2?
No. But even by the beginning of season 2, it's like, okay,
it gets a lot better.
They got their shit together.
Yeah.
It's not just like a CW teen romance anymore. So.
The finale or the half season finale for Arrow, holy shit.
Really? Of this season?
That might have been like my if there was like a moment, like a holy fuck moment, it might have been that.
Really? So is that where they're at right now?
I'm not there yet. Okay. I'm not there, so no spoilers. But
it was absolutely crazy. Yeah, I wouldn't spoil this for anything.
Okay.
So it was crazy though. It was for people that watch it in chat, they'll definitely know what I'm talking about.
How about
I'm also looking in chat there. Homeland was another one that I agree with. They had an incredible current season. It's actually not over yet.
Yeah, I watched the
can't remember if it ended.
I'm trying to talk. I watched the episode where the exchange happened at the airfield thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I was like, well, that's all. I mean, that's not very good. I watched that on a plane, and the mouth was just like, I just like asked the person next to me, like, did you see that shit? And then I haven't like watched any of it after that, so I need to. But
yeah, it's great.
But it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Someone else in chat reminded me of something too.
Well, I mean, The Walking Dead was good. Newsroom's over now, right?
Yes.
Why did they cancel it? Is it just
Aaron Sorkin was just? He said he's never gonna write for TV again.
Why?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, what they were doing was already tough enough, but
yeah, and it was a good final season. The final episode for me was kind of like the perfect final episode of Newsroom. But they're like they like get together and like sing a song.
Really?
Like they like.
Like what kind of song?
He just randomly like walks into a garage and like pulls out a guitar, and then like some other people walk in and like.
Oh my god, that sounds horrible.
It was kind of like folky. It was a little bit cheesy, but that also had an amazing episode. The 5th episode of that season was also like, oh my fucking god, I can't believe that just happened type shit. But Newsroom was definitely good.
What is the deal with the 100? Sell me on that. Is it like a superhero thing? What's the deal?
It's okay. So the premise is that Earth goes into like nuclear.
Why are you alone?
Everyone. Ads. Sorry about that, guys. Ads were playing on a link I clicked.
Okay.
So everyone, fires their missiles. A bunch of people escape from Earth in these giant, these like giant spaceships.
Okay.
And the spaceships don't really do that great over like the course of several hundred years, and there's only one remaining. It starts to run out of oxygen, and the leaders decide, you know what, I've got a great idea. We're going to take 100 criminals and we're going to send them down to Earth, and they'll find out if it's inhabitable. And it just so happens that all 100 criminals are also teenagers.
Yeah.
So
I was about to say, like, I hope
is that because this is on the CW or what?
Yes, it's on the CW, but I guess that's how it is because like most of the So they get sent down. Of course, Earth is inhabitable. They find out there's already people down there, and it just gets crazy and ridiculous from there. But it's like it's so funny, Jeff, because the way that I like to you have this episode, and in one episode, you've got these two sort of lovers or want to be lovers that can't quite figure out how to tell each other about their feelings. And then they're like walking and they're talking about it, and they're in a pack of 7. And then all of a sudden out of nowhere, like this axe goes whirling through the air and it just nails some guy in the face. And you're like,
oh yeah, okay.
Holy shit. That was awesome.
Yeah, I watched that.
Oh man, there's just like, there's all sorts of, you think there's these feel-good moments, and then villages get massacred instead. It's like, wow. It's
so you're saying guilty pleasure.
Totally guilty pleasure.
Okay.
Exactly like Flash and Arrow, pretty much.
Have you guys both watched The West Wing before?
I watched it at the time, back when you were like in grade school or whatever.
Yeah. I was probably in middle school, if not high school, for that.
Okay.
I started watching that because Newsroom ended, and they have like all 7 seasons on Netflix. Man, that show's fucking good. Man, that show's fucking good out of nowhere. The season 2 premiere, like it's this show's like fucking 30 years old, so I'm just gonna talk about it. The end of season 1, like the gunshot happens or whatever, and like the president started, like his whole cabinet or whatever just starts getting fired upon. The season 2 premiere, the 2-hour premiere they did for that, probably like one of my favorite 2 hours of TV. Like that was really, really intense, the way that they handled all that. And I had never watched any Aaron Sorkin before Newsroom, so now I'm like going back and watching all of his shit.
Nice.
Yeah, he was pretty on fire back then too. I mean, he wasn't kind of in love with his own voice as much as he is now.
Sure.
And also that was sort of like a time of TV when like that was pre Sopranos, pre Breaking Bad. Like it wasn't that kind of sophisticated TV. It wasn't quite there yet. So for network TV at the time, that was pretty awesome. Kind of like Homicide, if you guys ever watched that.
I never did.
Amazing.
Okay.
Homicide is a show that David Simon did before The Wire. And it's a lot of the same actors. If you go back and watch
right,
Homicide, you'll see a lot of those same dudes.
I'm probably going to rewatch The Wire, or I guess I should say finish The Wire, because I never did originally, now that it's been released in HD.
So good.
Now that I can actually get into it, so.
What about movies?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I can really confidently
say
say that Guardians of the Galaxy was
that
the
might
best
be
movie.
it.
Really, like I've watched
I'm
it
with you.
5 times since it's come out, and every time I'm like, and even the songs. Which, by the way, I don't know if you guys knew, but like that movie caused all those songs to reach like top
became, like,
sellers again. Yeah,
Which is crazy. Those songs are like
right
40 years old.
But now, like I hear those songs, and all I can like I laugh out loud whenever every time I hear "Ooh Child," things are gonna get easier. Because I just think about him in the dance off, and I'm just like, I can't wait for the second one. I fucking love, and I always thought there's no way they're gonna pull off Rocket Raccoon, but man, Bradley Cooper, fucking
he was hilarious.
Yeah,
he nailed it. Yeah, they all did.
They really did.
It's incredible that that this movie with a talking raccoon and Groot was so great. And what's awesome is just like how far the technology's advanced that like we can watch those things and it looks good.
Totally looks normal. Yeah.
I was when I watched it last time, there were moments with Groot where there was actually like genuine human emotion. Like he leans down and he does the thing for the little girl, and it's like this is like a walking fucking tree. And I got like a little not weepy, but it's like aw, like it's amazing that worked.
Yep.
On top of just like how fucking funny the whole movie was.
Absolutely.
It was just brilliant. I mean, I really felt like that movie. I agree with you. I think it was probably my favorite movie of the year.
And I will actually throw. I mean, hats off to Disney this year, because I would throw Big Hero 6 in there as well. Like it was.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. I want to though.
I haven't either.
I watched How to Train Your Dragon 2. I thought that was good. I'm going through right now. I'm in March, so I'm catching up on movies real quick in 2014.
I just saw this is totally different than the movies we've been talking about, but I just saw Foxcatcher.
With Jake
Steve Carell.
Okay.
Jeff, I actually thought of you when I heard of this movie. So hold on, Japanese.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where he's going.
No,
with
this is like the concept of this. Oh, here we go. It's called Kumiko, the Treasure Hunter. All right.
Huh.
And what it's about is a Japanese girl who finds a VHS to the movie Fargo. And she believes that it's like a treasure map to this suitcase of money. And so she goes, she takes a journey to Fargo. And you see
That's
like all
amazing.
of the, it's apparently
I've never heard of this.
It's been making their runs at the festivals, and people are like,
really?
Totally crazy, but it's like such a
that sounds really good.
I thought X-Men: Days of Future Past. I just found that came out in May. That wasn't bad. I guess it's probably not like top movies of the year so far. There's nothing that's just like jumping out at me, but I'm only in May, so I'm catching up. Guardians is probably like the
Interstellar
one.
was good, but I
haven't seen it yet. Yeah.
I haven't seen that either.
Okay, I still believe like I like some things that Christopher Nolan made better than that, but it was still like an amazing movie. I'm glad I got to see it like with my son, because it was pretty awesome to kind of talk about the movie and the concepts as a whole. But it wasn't like I can't see myself sitting down and watching a movie like that, 5 times.
I thought Code Black. What the hell? I never saw Gone Girl. I heard it was really good.
It was good.
I definitely want to see that.
It was good.
And
you can watch it on video, I think, safely.
I think in terms of just like movies that besides Guardians of the Galaxy, it was much more fun than this. But I think John Wick was just a movie that I really enjoyed, and I had no expectations of ever enjoying it whatsoever.
Right, I think no one did, right?
Yeah.
Was Gravity this year?
No, that was last year.
Yeah, it was last year.
But I really enjoyed that. I also enjoyed Edge of Tomorrow in the same vein. I thought that was really well done for something that I had no expectations of. And that's actually, I think that's on Netflix now. Or maybe it's not. I'm watching it somewhere else. I forget. But that movie's good. They renamed it Live, Die, Repeat for the DVD if you want to look for it, though.
Okay.
Which is really stupid. I don't know. I guess it bombed so bad in the box office.
No. What? No, they didn't.
Yeah. It's called Live, Die, Repeat now.
No, I think that's just the fucking cover.
No, they renamed it, I'm pretty sure.
Oh my god.
Yeah. They renamed the entire movie.
They really
for DVD
did.
release. Which is kind of crazy.
It's Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow. Like, oh my god, that's...
Really? They really renamed it?
Yeah, I mean...
And it's a Tom Cruise movie, too, which is kind of crazy.
That's super weird. That should be...
the original name... the original name of the movie was going to take the original name of the comic, the manga, which was All You Need Is Kill.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And apparently when they screened it, people were like, what is the title? They're like, what is that? They're like, okay.
Oh, my God. It's like loud shit going on my computer.
I watched Lucy as well.
I haven't watched that yet.
Oh, yeah. Was that good?
I don't know why. And I think I tweeted this as well at the same time. Like, that movie was really depressing for me. And not because it was, like, bad or anything. It was just, like, it's basically about, like, human existence. This is kind of, like, existential. But it was about, like, human existence and how, like, we'll never... Like, basically what we're doing is just, like, a waste.
And
it's
that's always good to be reminded of.
Yeah.
Especially when you're at the movies.
And I was just like, why am I watching an action kind of movie where it's basically telling me that everything I'm doing is completely worthless?
Over the years, I've had a harder time going to depressing movies at the theater. I don't go to the movies that often anymore.
Yeah.
I used to go all the time. I think that's probably true of a lot of us. I used to go all the time. Now it's a much more rare occasion.
Yeah.
So when I go, even if I read a review and I know it's supposed to be great because critics say so or whatever, but I know that it's just going to be a downer, I'm just less inclined to want to go.
Yep.
I hate walking out of a movie and going like, well, that was great, but fuck.
Yeah, that's why I like...
Sorry I'm alive.
You guys,
right.
my probably one of my favorite like comedies of the year, and dark comedies. That's what I really like. And it apparently it came out like it was made last year, but wasn't really distributed until this year. But Bad Words is
I heard that was decent.
I mean, it is fucking hilarious. I actually watched it on a plane. And I laughed like nonstop. I felt bad for the guy next to me, but it was so funny. And it's about a 40-year-old guy who basically finds a loophole to enter a spelling bee because he's got ulterior motives for it. But like it is fantastic. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll definitely.
I sat through the first 45 minutes the other day on TV of the second Hobbit movie, which I skipped.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one either yet.
With my kid, and holy shit, it's so bad. I can't like it's so bad. I just don't know I don't know what happened to Peter Jackson. I don't know. I mean, when we watched it because we feel like we have to go to the third movie, just sort of like as a rite of passage. And my daughter was basically like, we have to go. And I was like, no, we don't. We don't. It's going to be terrible. And she's like, no, we have to. So we're going to go see the last one. But she says, like, just go into it knowing it's going to suck. And then maybe we'll have an okay time. But I love the original trilogy, and I just don't know what the fuck
what he's doing.
What happened to him?
Yeah. Jeff In Control was saying the same thing when we were talking about it the other day. I don't know. I didn't enjoy like it was all right. It was watchable, but it wasn't. No. The second one. The second one. I haven't seen the third one yet.
Yeah.
It was definitely watchable, but like I'm not excited to go see the third one. I'll probably wait till it comes out on Blu-ray or whatever. But
I was so excited for each Lord of the Rings movie. I mean, and I went opening day or like opening like midnight to all three, and I wasn't disappointed. Like I thought they were so awesome. You know, they weren't perfect, but just recreating those novels that we grew up with, you know, and watching the second Hobbit movie, it just made me, I mean, we all know what mostly sucks about it, which is that he just made up a bunch of shit. right?
Yeah.
He stuck fucking Legolas in there.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And you know, and like, I mean that, but it's more than that. It's just if he had done all that, but he had done it well, it would be okay. It's just there's like no pacing whatsoever. It just, you don't give a shit about anything that's going on. The scenes like ramble from one thing to another. There's like love scenes between characters that like he basically made up. Meanwhile, like you don't see Martin Freeman for like 20 minutes in a movie that's called The Hobbit, and he's The Hobbit. You know, I just don't even know what they were thinking. Like, why was this 3 fucking movies?
How much was this studio like directives, right? And this will actually segue into our other movie topic, which is the interview I want to talk about. But you guys, like, I'm pretty sure that Peter Jackson and his whole history with that was that he had tried to get these movies. A lot of people tried to get the movies made for a while, and I'm pretty sure that he like probably signed over his life for the ability to make the Lord of the Rings movies, which included, you know, okay, if this stuff is good, then you're going to make 3 more. As someone mentioned, like Lord of the Rings was based off of 3 books, you know, the trilogy, and they actually, there was so much shit that wasn't in the movies because they couldn't fit it.
That's true.
Whereas like here we have the exact same film time, but, you know, can you, like, you actually only need 1 or 2 movies to tell the whole tale of The Hobbit. So I feel like probably Peter Jackson was put in a situation where it's like, okay, well, now I have to somehow turn this into 3 movies. I don't totally put the blame on him because, you know, I mean, he was just chasing his dream. He made Lord of the Rings. It's still like.
So you think he was like an indentured servant here?
It's very similar to what I believe happened to the guys at Lost, where they had a very specific plan that lasted X amount of seasons, and ABC was like, "Nope, fuck you. You guys got something amazing, and this is going to be 7 seasons, and there's nothing that you can do about that. So make it work." It's like,
so Peter Jackson was going, okay, great, we've got like 3 more hours to fill. I guess I'll have one of the dwarves fucking fall in love with some elf.
I bet you if you had an interview, Peter Jackson was ever asked and answered honestly, like, would you, if you could go back and do something different with The Hobbit, would you have made it small? He would be like, yes, fucking absolutely. He's got to be sick of this shit.
I hope so.
He's got to be sick.
Because it was so bad. I mean,
Peter Jackson picks The Hobbit as 2 movies. The studio made him turn it into a trilogy. The first movie was, second. I thought because I remember, wasn't it? It was originally supposed to be 2 movies, Unexpected Journey and There and Back Again. That would have made sense.
That makes a lot more sense. But even given, you know, all, you know, that, like, to me, it also just, like, looked fucking terrible. I hated the way the first one looked. The second one, I'm watching it on my TV now, so at least I don't
see everything.
I can't see the, you know, that super high def.
Oh, that's right. It was like 48
million frames per second, 48 frames per second. And I saw it in that plus 3D, and it was so distracting. I just felt like I was in like I don't know. It felt like you were like on the movie set. You know, it was too hyper real, and like I just remember the scene with the trolls, which is such a memorable moment in the book. It looked like plastic. It looked so bad. You know, it made me long for old technology, where at least there was sort of like the filter of film over it, you know?
Which then, in contrast to what you said earlier about Guardians, it's just like, what?
Right.
Like, you know, like I watch a lot of horror shit and I see unbelievable special effects. I'm just like, holy fuck. And then you do see something and you're just like, really? Like,
Right. Yeah, even watching it on the TV, there's a scene early on in the second Hobbit movie where the dwarves are all running from some giant bear creature who chases them into a house, and I think that actually was in the book. But that whole scene of that chase and then the monster's head being in the door, sort of like in The Shining, where, you know, where he's trying to break through, it looks so unreal. It looks so bad, and all I could think was like, he's taken like 5 steps back from how good stuff looked in Lord of the Rings. Like, this just looks fundamentally worse. Like, I'm not buying it for a second that this is actually happening. It was just so disappointing to me.
All right, 2 more things for movies. Let's talk about, I want to talk about the interview, but real quickly, the Star Wars trailer someone mentioned.
We haven't talked about that.
We haven't talked about it. And so what do you guys think?
I watched it, like, It was kind of crazy, the buzz surrounding that thing the day before.
Dude,
I think it was that on Thanksgiving?
You were like Kool-Aid.
Oh yeah, dude, I was going crazy. Was that well? It's because I was in Sean's place and I was just like fucking freaking out because I didn't have access to a computer, so I was tweeting every thought that I had. But was it on Thanksgiving when they said it was coming out on Friday?
That sounds
it was something.
Right.
It was like, and then boom, they just released it on the net. It's like,
I think I was.
Yeah, right.
I think I was drunk too when I was tweeting that stuff because like I was super. I mean that's like I would think that's probably like one of the biggest trailers to be released in a very long time.
Oh sure.
Like and they could have probably shown like just the fucking text scroll,
Star
and
Wars,
people still would have lost their fucking mind, right? Like I would have been stoked about that. But like the
I
actual
think we
trailer,
probably all lost our mind for episode 1, though, just to put in a little perspective.
That's true. That's true.
So let's remember how that
true.
worked out for us.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I know, I totally get it. But the trailer itself, I think I've watched it twice, and I don't want to watch it any more than that.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to like. I kind of like what you're saying, Jeff. I don't want to get attached to it because if it sucks, I don't want to be pissed.
I have this feeling it's not going to suck. By the way, I did go back and watch it again because someone told me that the little droid with the ball was not CG.
Yeah.
That was not CG. Yeah, that there's actually a lot more not CG in that than you think.
Cool.
Yeah.
Huh.
Which is pretty amazing to think about.
Yeah.
There's something about it does not feel like the episode 1. Like
no, I agree
at
with you.
all.
It
feels like it feels like old Star Wars.
You have to believe that J.J. Abrams and the other people making this are so self-conscious about that. They have to know they can't do that this can't happen again.
Of course, yeah.
And J.J. Abrams, we know, is a great storyteller. So, you think if anyone can pull it off, he could do it. He did it with the Star Trek movies. So
those
he should,
are good.
He should be able to do it. Yeah, me too. He should be able to do it again. I mean, they've got. I'm sure there's like a whiteboard somewhere in an office. It's like has like Jar Jar Binks.
Don't fuck this up.
Well, I mean, and there's such a tough
balance,
balance, right? Because we already know the cast members from the 4 are returning, or at least cameo wise, and they can't just put them in there just to like be like, okay, there's their screen time piece. The Millennium Falcon's in it. Like such a big portion of this all relies to how that all ties together, right? Because if they just throw together some. Like, here's what I'm really hoping. When you look at Star Wars A New Hope and you think about, Luke being on Tatooine and what's happening with Princess Leia, like in another, and fucking Han Solo just sort of like coming into the mix, there was sort of that whole concept of these individuals from the galaxy like coming together and that starting the saga. I feel like that has to happen in this one to sort of, to kind of keep it all going. But if it's just some dumb, like, here's Harrison Ford, like, handing over the fucking keys to the Millennium Falcon, like, I'm going to be real,
Sure.
There is that is the part that is probably going to sell me on the whole next 3 movies is, like, how this transition, like, that's the most important thing for me. Like, what the fuck has happened since Return of the Jedi, and how are these people going to play a role in what, I'm excited.
To me, I think it's mostly about like the spirit of. It's like the spirit, because like when I watched Guardians of the Galaxy, I sort of felt like, and I tweeted at the time that like that movie more than the other Marvel movies or other comic book movies reminded me of Star Wars and the Indiana Jones movies, just in like this sort of like kind of joyous, the camaraderie between the characters. The way you identified with them, the humor, and like that's sort of what I think that like a lot of people sort of forget about Star Wars, especially the first movie. Like it was really funny in a lot of places, and the sort of the sort of emotional attachment between Han and Leia and Luke, and and the banter that they had, like it was a fun movie to watch. It was just fun.
Yep.
And like the episode 1, 2, and 3 were so not that. It was so all the horrible stilted dialogue, just the painful "you are like sand" or whatever those horrible bullshit lines were. So I'm just hoping that in the new movie, like they remember that part of it was just like it was just fucking fun to sit in the theater and watch these people who on screen looked like they were having a good time making the movie too.
Right.
You know, that like this is like an awesome like space adventure. Let's not take this too seriously. Let's remember it's like a popcorn movie. So that's what I'm mostly hoping for.
Yeah.
And I felt like the new trailer kind of made it seem like it was going to be that way, right? It seemed like there was sort of like a playfulness about it that it seemed was there. I hope.
Yeah, I guess we'll just have to. Have they
1
said
year, man? 1 year, December 2015. What
they said when the next trailer is going to be, right? I think they said that.
Did they?
Did they?
I want to say that they did. Maybe they didn't. Part of me, a lot of me really wanted to see the trailer start off, and for no reason at all, it was just like the entire fucking whatever stupid race Jar Jar Binks was, like his race, like in a field, and just like AT-AT stomping on them. Like
that would have been great fan service.
Weren't they already dead? Like, weren't they already?
Is it the Gungans? Yeah, they might be. I don't know. I don't know. I just wanted to get like some retribution for having to deal with that fucking
I just
asshole.
pretend between 3 and 4 the Gungans were wiped out in exactly the manner.
Their planet was just blown
like
up.
actually, it just the whole planet Naboo just like froze over like Hoth, and that's why they brought the AT-ATs down. And then, you know, the AT-AT actually tried to walk across the frozen lake, but it couldn't. It busted through the ice and it fell on the big Naboo dome or whatever, the underwater dome. Killed them all. Killed them all. It was horrible.
Maybe that'll be a good like one line.
Okay.
In the movie.
People are saying full trailer during the Avengers, which, by the way, that trailer was fucking incredible. I thought that was probably one of the better trailers of the year for the Age of Ultron. It was.
Yes.
I'm hyped as fuck for that movie.
I'm super
hyped. Yeah. Interview, Wheat? You want to talk about that?
Yeah, let's talk about the interview real quick. This is kind of fucking crazy, you guys. This whole... You know, here's a movie that is about going and assassinate the president of North Korea or the leader of North Korea, and Sony with the hack, which is like totally crazy to begin with, but it seems like they've gone back and forth. Like, this movie will get released, it will be for free here. Okay, now the hackers are saying, or whoever are saying, you cannot release this movie in any way, and Sony is totally just okay. You know, obey. But I mean, like, this is unprecedented.
It's unprecedented. It's really crazy.
And I was actually really glad to hear Obama kind of call out Sony.
You know, and I'm split down the middle on it, because I feel like, yes, while I'm on that side of like, this is bullshit and stupid, I partially feel, even though there's higher ups who are probably trying to save themselves, like the employees, I feel really bad for, because it's like, here's someone, I trust my employer to keep my personal information, you know, mine, and this not be an issue. And now, like, biggest case of identity theft like ever, because these people have everything. And I mean, they've released a lot of it, so a lot of people have everything. And I don't know how much of the decision making is like, yo, we just want to protect our employees. Like, I don't know if that's wishful thinking, but it sucks, because I think it's kind of bullshit too. But
yeah,
you know, would there actually be violence in, you know, places if they had released this movie? It's probably better to be safe than sorry. But what do you guys think about all this crazy shit?
I mean, I agree. It is probably better to be safe than sorry. I mean, God forbid something should have happened in some mall somewhere, you know, that was showing the movie. But on the other hand, it's just so fucking appalling to think that we could not show a movie in this country because of some lunatic tin pot dictator in North Korea. That you know, that we should have to censor ourselves because of that.
It is pretty nuts.
Is outrageous. On the other hand, I would also say my initial gut reaction when I was reading about the movie, and I didn't know at first, and it's not really a spoiler anymore because it's been all over the news. So sorry if you don't read the news, but like in the movie, they actually assassinate
the
leader, right? And when I first heard that, I was like, so what the fuck were you thinking? Like, why did you feel the need to go there? Because, duh, the guy's insane. That country is kind of insane in general.
Yeah.
Like, you could have made, like, a funny political satire that lampooned this guy and without actually blowing his head off, which I'm not saying that, therefore, this is all the way it should have happened. I'm just saying, if I was in charge at Sony, when they submitted that movie, I'd be like, how about we take out the scene where you blow the guy's head off? Because he's still alive.
Yeah.
That's kind of offensive, even if you totally don't agree with him or their politics or whatever. Like, it's sort of like, would we do that with another leader in another country?
We have before, but I don't think we've ever, like, unless it's slapstick, I don't think we've ever seen it done, like, with real life leaders. Like, for example, if I recall, there is a couple scenes in the Weird Al Yankovic movie UHF in which he he actually RPGs a bunch of Middle Eastern leaders, right?
Are they real?
They're
leaders?
like, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
But I mean, it's obviously tongue in cheek, as he's, you know, it's like his little Rambo segment. But you know, is it the same? The whole movie is kind of like about that. But what people are saying that have seen it is that they think it's hilarious because in actuality, the movie is 20 minutes about sort of the whole assassination taking place, and then all of these parts about, you know, stoner laughable conversations about how they're gonna, you know, shove a bazooka up whose ass in order to get it in and stuff like that. So it's just kind of crazy if you go back and you're like, okay, every movie that's ever attacked or killed or had violence towards another leader, we would actually eliminate a lot more movies than we think. So, you know, but on the other hand, there's a lot of fictitious, right? Like, oh, it's the leader of X country and his name is
which
whatever.
is different.
It's totally
different. Totally different, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's part of the problem. I mean, again, I don't think it's right what happened here. I just think it's like sort of like you're poking the bear there when you make a movie like that, you know, especially with a country like that, you know, where they're not really well known for their sense of humor.
Yeah.
Or grip on reality. So, you know, it's still a shitty situation. I really do hope that they just release it online, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck you, what are you going to do now?
Man,
you're gonna blow
that's
up the entire country?
Yeah. And I think they came out and said that no one has approached them yet for like the rights to put that on like a Netflix or an iTunes or anything like that. But
well, earlier this morning,
unless that's changed.
There was a article. Now, again, I don't know. Hold on. The interview Crackle is what I heard.
Oh, they're going to throw it on Crackle?
Yeah, this is like... So
I think that's the
this
Sony
is even
one, right?
30 minutes ago. Yeah, it's Sony's streaming service as far as I know. But 30 minutes ago...
Interesting.
It says Sony plans to release the interview for free on its own streaming service, Crackle.
Nice.
Now, this also comes... right during the time where apparently they had said, look, if you release this thing in VOD, we're still going to come after you. So, I don't know, you guys.
That'd be crazy. Did you guys see the last night on SNL during the monologue?
I haven't watched it yet, but the Dr. Evil?
Yeah, Dr. Evil like broke into the monologue, which one thing would suck if you were the host of SNL, because that's like a pretty prestigious thing to do the monologue.
Yeah.
That they're like, guys, we're going to have Dr. Evil break into your monologue. We're sorry. But the other thing was like, it's fucking Dr. Evil, and he just shits over like North Korea, or shits on North Korea and Sony for just everything that occurred. It's like, that's so random, but it's so perfect. It's so perfect.
Oh, I love it. That's great.
Mike Myers gets his day in the sun again. That's sort of nice.
Yeah.
Who was the host that got interrupted? Who was?
You know, I don't even remember, so that's probably why they didn't care. Scrapping it. Where? I'll find it here in a bit. Here's Mike Myers. Come on, Sam Smith. Oh, this was the intro. It wasn't the monologue. It was like the thing.
Okay.
Like he came out and said like, "Welcome to," or whatever the fucking Saturday Night Live line is.
Right.
They say when they start the intro
York
reel.
Saturday night.
Yeah. He said that, so that makes sense. That's perfect. It was good. You should definitely watch
yeah,
this on.
Also, someone else mentioned really quickly is that the whole concept of who actually did this hacking is really crazy because the FBI has come out and said, we know that it's North Korea. North Korea has come out and said, it's not us. Let us work with the FBI in order to help you find out who it is. And even Sony early on was like, we think it's North Korea, but there's some folks who are like, maybe it's an inside job. Like they just fired a bunch of IT staff. So that whole thing is crazy too. Like
it is pretty.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of all that, it's an insane development that this happened at all. That a movie got pulled right before it was about to be released. Because of bomb threats. I mean, bomb threats, but all the threats.
Yeah.
It's just really.
Part of me hopes that,
crazy.
and I don't think this will happen, but part of me hopes that it does get released on VOD in like the next week or so. And then it becomes like a treasured American Christmas movie because of how like ridiculous it is. Like every Christmas, every year we gather around the fireplace and we watch Die Hard and then we watch The Interview right afterward. I think that would be perfect.
Ho, ho, ho. Now I have a
and then Jingle All the Way as well right after to throw some comedy.
There you go.
Comedy in there.
There you go.
It should happen.
All right. Should we talk games?
I want to do album of the year because it'll be quick. Do you guys have an album of the year? For me, it's super easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's, and I never expected me to ever say this in my lifetime, but yeah,
What?
I think my my album of the year was 1989 by Taylor Swift.
Really?
Yeah.
I was thinking you were going to say Beyonce.
Nope.
Either way, it's kind of embarrassing for you, but
yeah,
that's okay.
Yeah.
What an album,
I don't
man.
really have one.
I don't listen to music at all. I actually bought that fucking album, which says a lot about that, how good it is. It's
That's
great.
Kind of
You
crazy.
should listen to it.
All right.
I listen to a hell of a lot of music, but I don't really have a favorite. And then because of Spotify now, I spend so much of my time going back and forth between decades. I'm just sort of all over the map now in my listening all the time.
Yeah,
so.
That's true. Wheat, anything in particular? Nothing?
No, nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. Shout out to
to
Monster Cat, man. I found some awesome new music this year on there.
That's
I'm
true.
excited.
They do a
There's
good
some
job.
good stuff. You got to
They do a
dig,
good
but there's
job.
good stuff. All right, let's talk about games of the year.
That's what everyone's waiting for.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, Buster went through our previous 2013 episode
Yeah, I saw.
and did dig through some of the 2014 predictions. So why don't we just kick off? Maybe we could go through these real quick, and we can laugh at a few of them. So Wheat's prediction, I think that we'll see Nintendo really enter into the mobile space, which is false, but they did in the past month and a half file patents to basically bring all of their old consoles to mobile platforms. So
that's exciting.
Maybe I was a little bit too ahead of the time. JP, you disagreed, stating that they will keep their focus on Wii U and 3DS, which they definitely did. And they were idiots for making the 2DS, even though it's sold well. So they were still kind of idiots.
Yeah, and I still can't believe that thing sold well. Like,
Yeah.
That's.
But the Wii U, man,
How the fuck does that make sense?
has definitely been sort of picking up.
It really has.
Yeah, like congrats to them. Between
Yeah.
my Wii U has been on more the last 3 months than any of my other consoles combined.
That's crazy. That's insane.
I turned on my Xbox One for the first time, I think, in a year to play Halo 5 beta on Friday.
Really? In a year?
I think it's been a year.
So basically, you bought it when it came out, and that was it?
Oh, no, that's not true. I played Forza Horizon 2. I only played 2 games on it. I maybe put 20 hours max. No, that's actually generous. I probably put maybe 10 hours max into that console this year.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was just nothing I wanted to play on it.
JP predicts Square Enix will enter the mobile space more than they already are, which is, I mean, it's
that's
true.
kind of that wasn't a bold
They continue to
prediction
go
or
that
anything.
way. This is the year Call of Duty will start to taper off due to
Sunset
Titanfall. Wheat says, really? And I think my really was Titanfall didn't quite do it, gentlemen.
Yeah.
We thought it was the duty killer, but nope.
I had a good time with it when it came out.
It was short-lived.
I liked it, but yeah, it was short-lived.
And we didn't know about Advanced Warfare then, right? Because Advanced Warfare wasn't announced until E3.
You know, actually, JP, maybe you're right. because I did not even play Call of Duty Advanced Warfare after Titanfall because I felt like that was my Call of Duty experience for the year. So I was like, all right, I'm done. So maybe you were half right in your prediction.
Maybe so.
Yeah. March will be the biggest month for gaming this year. I think that while
November
March,
took over.
Yeah,
I think.
totally.
Even though it was kind of not for like being the biggest, but for because every game came out not finished and it became the story.
Yeah,
for pretty much the year of like gaming was like there was a ton of games that were shipped this year that just absolutely were trash because they didn't have enough time in the fucking development pot. Like,
Yep.
I think that's probably the #1 story.
PC port of Titanfall will be complete dog shit. It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad.
No.
It was all right.
Dark Souls 2 will be good on PC because the developers will finally figure out how to make games on PC, and that was it was
They didn't have
pretty chill. Well, at least it wasn't games for Windows Live, so that was a plus.
Have developers finally figure out how to make games on PC? I think no. Yes, they know how, but they still rate limit us. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, that's true.
Infamous Second Son will be the first true next-gen experience. I agreed.
I think it was.
It kind of was.
Yeah.
I don't think. Yeah, and again, that's not a bold prediction
It's
at
not
all. But
bold, and it also
because like it was the first big game that came out for fucking next gen.
Right.
Yeah.
And that game hasn't really had great legs either, like Titanfall. No one's really talking about it now in their game.
Nothing's had great legs this year
I
at
would
all. Like they
still-
came out and it just tapered off.
I would still counterpoint ourselves to say this year for next gen was pretty.
It was pretty shit.
It was pretty
terrible.
shit.
Yeah, it
Pretty
was.
shit.
There's not a whole lot, and we're now, 1 year and a few months into the next gen.
1 year and 1 month.
There's
15,
hardly
14,
very many reasons to say we should have these consoles yet.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, there's not to say there hasn't been some good games.
no, you're right.
But how many of these would not have just been just as fine on a PS3 or an Xbox 360? Really? I mean, there's been some things where I'm looking at the new machines and I'm going, cool. But
Right.
overall, though, nothing feels like, holy shit, this is not last gen. We're in a whole new thing now. Like, I'm not feeling that yet at all.
Not. And this is common in the cycle, but you'd think in this day and age it might start happening a little bit faster. And it was nice to have like the Sony, the PlayStation experience over the the past month.
That was good. Also, the Game Award. We didn't talk about this all. The Game Awards were actually fucking good.
They were actually good.
They were good.
It was the first award thing that's ever happened with video games that I was like, it was a little 2-hour long thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
it
2
could
hours
have been an
long,
hour.
Or the
It was
show.
too long.
But
There were too many world exclusive premiere.
and Keeley actually came out and said like, it was too long and there was
Did he?
premieres.
Oh, good.
He said that himself. So
I
it's like,
think
good on
Jeff
you.
is very aware of like what was good and what wasn't, what wasn't. And I got to say, even amongst all the little like sound problems and stuff, there is a certain charm to that happening during the
It was
show.
good.
You know, like I
there
don't
was.
know how to
There was.
really explain it, but like when I watch Twitch
I get it.
streams, I see shit fuck up all the time. It's like
That's
a
right.
normal part of
Right.
this is hard to do. This isn't
Fuck, man, it happens at the Super Bowl, so like no one's
right.
perfect.
I mean,
And it
you're
was
right.
just having it not be slick. It just made it more human. It
Right.
made it more like we can identify with this shit. I mean, I thought it was really great, especially just given what we've had to put up with in the past, like with the VGAs.
Which were
like
abysmal.
for me, like the Ken and Roberta Williams thing, like that was
was
so
fucking
beautiful.
awesome. And and actually that was my favorite part of the show because I was like,
Yeah, me too.
And it
for
wasn't
me-
rushed too, which was the best
Yeah.
part.
They took their
Yeah.
time. They didn't just like put them on and then shove them off the
get 'em
stage.
off,
Yeah,
It was
right.
about like 10-minute long thing.
you are right. I mean, those two, like, I'm like sitting there getting emotional, going like, dude, these
Yeah.
guys, like, if it wasn't for these guys, I wouldn't be playing the Telltale games. I wouldn't have
Right,
played.
yeah.
Like, like, who even knows if I'd be into video games? Because that's all the shit that I played. Like, that's the stuff that I just was like, I lusted over. Like, oh my god, I've got to play Phantasmagoria. Like, I've got to get a fucking CD-ROM so I can play this fucking game. And that was, that's crazy. It is.
Yeah, it would have been
fucking
unheard
crazy.
of on the VGAs to do it at all, let alone give it that much time. Let them come up there and talk. I mean, it was really cool. And in general, I felt like the whole awards, like there was never a moment where they made like the, gamers are losers playing games in their mom's basement thing. Like, it was always just the
Yep.
baseline assumption was we're all watching this because we're all gamers.
Yeah,
and we all like games, and
exactly.
we're on
The
stage here because
intro
we
to
like
it.
games.
The intro to it is exactly that. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't. There was no reference or any shitting on the fact that like video gamer or gamers are gamers, right? It was just
Right.
like, yeah, we
and
like
there was
playing
never a
video games.
celebrity who was like, I'm slumming here and I'm embarrassed to be here.
Yeah,
Right.
even
And there
Keith
wasn't any of
Sutherland
that.
was like interesting to and I think this was also the year of going off the fucking the transcript, not transcript or whatever the telegraph or whatever. Teleprompter, yeah. Because like that was like the number one thing that was said everywhere is like, I'm gonna go off teleprompter for a second, and then who knows if it actually was. But Kiefer did that, and it felt genuine, so I was glad to see that.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, it was
overall
a lot
good.
of credit to Jeff Keighley for pulling that together. He
Yeah,
gets,
man.
He gets a lot of shit.
Yeah.
You know, especially on places like NeoGAF. But, you know, he did this, and also he did it reportedly with a lot of his own money, too. So he really went out on a limb, and I think really kind of proved that, you know, there can be an award show that really kind of does justice to our pastime here without it feeling like condescending and embarrassing. You know, I didn't have to cringe while I was watching it and just be like, oh, God.
Yeah.
One
and
of
he
my
brought us the Legend of Zelda thing too.
yeah,
so that was
that's
really cool.
true.
Yeah,
too.
right.
Nintendo
right.
came in; they were huge superstars that whole show.
Yeah.
They definitely were. I
really
loved.
thought they were going to show Metroid though, but I was happy with what they showed.
I love the Conan O'Brien bits as well. Like I kind of love Conan O'Brien's they've got a really interesting relationship with the video game industry because Conan O'Brien is like he says like I'm a gamer, but he still does the clueless gamer stuff. But Team Coco treat like a bunch of their writers and some of the guys that work on the show like they stream on Twitch and they are funny as shit. And like every time Conan O'Brien has some sort of video game thing, it is just hilarious.
His videos. Every video he released this year about like the Clueless Gamer reviews or whatever, they're all fucking hilarious.
The Tomb Raider one is still one of my favorites. It is
Yeah.
so amazing. Like it's so great.
That was
so
really
great. So
That's kind of the cool thing about, like, you know, the advancement of time here is now, like, all these mainstream, like, talk show hosts and stuff, like, they're all gamer. Jon Stewart's a gamer.
Yeah.
Colbert's a gamer. So, like, they can actually talk the talk now. And it's only going to be more so like that, right?
Of course. It'll
they'll
get bigger.
You know, they'll be able to do these things on late night, regular TV, and it won't be some nerdy afterthought. It's just going to be part of, like, our collective pop culture, right?
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, so should we take a quick break and then like jump into it? And maybe we'll go like a little bit over the hour to talk about our games of the year. Does that sound good?
Yeah, works for me.
Sure.
All right, we're gonna keep you waiting just a little bit longer, but we're gonna take a break, and when we return, it is our games of the year, guys. Thanks for tuning in to 8 Bits. The next hour and a little bit will be coming up after this. Don't go away.